I mean, obviously, there's a huge benefit to the applicant if we grant these variances. My concern about the precedence was that the zoning board is, I believe, going to be faced with a lot of larger issues when the Crossroads Golf Course development comes online. And I think it's a really bad idea to send a message to the business community that zoning laws don't matter in this town. And that's sort of the presentation that you're presenting to the community. So I'm concerned about the perception that you can build whatever you want in violation of the zoning laws and then just show up enough to get your position passed and circumvent the zoning laws. I think this is a really bad time to send a message to the community that our zoning laws can be circumvented. And that's my only concern here at this point.
If anybody has any more questions.
I mean, we can still discuss.
Yes.
We can still discuss.
If there's no further comment from the public, we should formally move to close the public hearing.
No one else has anything to say? No, everybody's happy so far.
You moving, Keith? Are you making a motion?
To close the public hearing.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Then you can continue your discussion.
My feeling is since this, we have a building that is, over the property line that was built completely without permits, then it is absolutely a self-created hardship. I think that a 10-foot setback would be sufficient in this case to give some buffer from the property line, the roadway, the shoulder, and the structure. I do not feel that I can vote for a variance that requires no setback from the property line. In all the years I've been on this board, we've never, ever granted someone 0-foot setback.
How many years has that been?
10, 15 years. The other ones, the accessory use, I do not have an issue with. Also, it being closer than the primary structure, the farm stand being closer than the primary structure to the front lot line. I think that's fine in this case, but I do have a problem with the front yard setback.
So that's number 2 on the
That'd be
list.
number 3. Well, it's 3 and 4. It's
3 and 4?
10 feet from the lot line, and also then it's, I'm sorry, 2 and 3, yeah.
2 and 3.
Yeah. 22 is closer than 20 feet from the street line, and 3 is 10 feet from the lot line.
So that would be a setback from the enclosed structure or the parking fields as well?
No.
A setback? from this
No, I think
entire
it's just
lot line?
the farm stand itself, just the physical farm stand.
Okay, I could support that.
I would make a motion, unless anyone else has any questions. I would make a motion to accept the variance requests number 1 and number 4 as they stand, the accessory use, as well as the fact that the farm stand is closer than a primary structure. But in regard to 2 and 3, I would make a motion that we deny them as requested and put the caveat in that the farm stand needs to be at least 10 feet from the lot line.
Can I just ask a question? I just want to, because what I hear you saying is that you're okay with 1 and 4 and 2 and 3, you're not okay with, and that's the gist of your motion. Number 1 deals with the total square feet. But that, including
the
this
parking, accessory.
okay. So I just want to be clear that that's.
Are you saying that would also be
if you-
affected by that?
It might be affected by that if I'm trying to prevent you from doing something
Right.
inconsistent.
Mhm.
So if you're denying 2 and 3, or you're asking for, and I think the request before you is what it is, unless the applicant says voluntarily, essentially, that it's willing to do what you're suggesting, we have to deny those. So, and I'm saying if you deny 2 and 3 and pass 1, you may create an inconsistency.
Right, okay.
So
we have to adjust the number.
So,
Number one.
yeah.
Which was the square.
Well, what I'm saying is that if you deny 2 and 3, you probably also have to deny 1 until such time that it gets adjusted to you. Otherwise, it's
No, I understand
probably,
what you're saying.
it may be inconsistent. I'm not 100% sure, because in that calculation is also included, the parking lot. Okay.
Right.
So if the parking lot stays the same, and the building comes down, I'm not sure where that number ultimately lands, but if you grant one for 3,014 square feet, it's for the existing condition. So it would seem to me the existing condition includes a structure that is up to the line, and you're denying the ability to do that. So to me, that seems inconsistent.
Okay.
So,
May I raise a question on that subject, actually?
Yeah.
If the area variance happens to be greater than what the area that's usable based on the other variances that are granted, I don't think there's anything that would necessarily require the landowner to use the full amount of the variance. So if the variance was for 3,000 square feet, just using a round number, and then based on whatever adjustments are made to the setback, the structure ends up only being 2,800 square feet over, I don't think there's any requirement that the applicant has to use the remaining 200 square feet somewhere. It could just be, there's extra footage that was allowed under one variance, but as a practical matter, the other variances don't permit it to be allowed to be used. And that way we don't necessarily have to try and recalculate to the exact square foot what the new variance would be.
I'm okay with that on condition that the applicant agrees, well, tonight, that it would accept a variance of the way you're proposing it with a 10-foot setback.
Well, a 10-foot setback on
From the
lot line on
From the
a
lot.
business frontage of 43.7 feet is a 437 foot difference. So out of a request for 5,700 feet, that's not a whole lot of space. However, that is probably a significant part of the release.
Do you have a problem with that, Al?
Well, it's not really.
No.
What's your question, Keith?
Do you have a problem with it being able to move the front of that building back 10 feet from the edge of the right of way, from the edge of the DOT right of way?
The building 10 feet. Shuck it back 10 feet. That's the question.
But I think the question is shorten that 10 feet as opposed to moving it. It's not a question of moving the structure, it's a question of.
Yeah, I don't mean to.
Just basically move the front wall in.
When you said move the structure back 10 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, move the front wall in 10 feet.
10 feet off the concrete floor.
No, no.
No, that's not. That's not.
He has to. He has to.
Yeah.
He has to do something. He has to use chop the floor
You
out.
have to, that's what it's like. It's easy to do the front.
He has to.
He does it too.
Right?
Is that-
What's that? I didn't hear.
He's saying that we can't, just reiterate what you said before. We can't exceed the
No, I'm saying, I don't, their variance request is what it is. So we're bound to act on that unless they amend it. I don't think we can say, we're granting you a lesser variance, they'd have have to, you know.
Yeah, that part.
You're allowed to have stipulations.
We're allowed to have conditions, but
That's not a condition.
it's not really, in my opinion. I think it's, I think,
Al? Yeah, for
let
clarity,
let the dialogue continue, see where it goes.
for clarity, talking about moving, or tightening things up by 10 feet on your stand, the portion we're talking about is the overhang, where you normally had vegetables and whatnot displayed, that was open at the sides but had like an overhang roof to it. Am I correct?
Evidently, it's, the roof structure encroaches over on the state of a couple
It
of
isn't a
feet.
question of it encroaching so much as trying to get some setback. I think that's the.
I mean, why don't you go up there and look at the map and take,
Yeah, I'll
show
bring
you
it.
what we're talking about.
Here.
Or bring it.
Let's go bring it to Mr. Higley. Yeah, let's bring the map to Mr. Higley, we'll make sure we've got.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind looking at
Stay
it.
right, stay right.
We were just looking at the map that Mr. Brewer has, so.
Maybe we can go through that. Sure.
Well,
First of all, this is the most recent map.
Yeah.
yeah, see, when you look, there's not a revision box, but you look at the date. And there's a date on here where he signed it, September 21st. That would be your most recent revision. Normally on engineering drawings, you have a revision box, but you don't see it here. Okay, here's the farm stand.
Yeah.
Now, this is strictly a plan view. You do not see whether there's a bulkhead wall or anything through here,
Right.
and how much of this is overhang.
Right.
The contention is move the thing, suck it in by about 10
Right.
feet.
Yeah, and I think that what Mr. Higley was getting hung up on was the word move versus.
No, you
Straight.
cannot, Al,
Yeah.
Al, to clarify, we're not saying move the building. We're saying tighten up the front wall, suck the front wall back in. Don't move the whole building. Yeah, in other words, where, I'll show you.
So
We'll bring the map to you, my friend. Mark? Okay. Okay, this is your stand in plan view, right? Correct. Okay. This is the wall that is right hard up against the line.
Was actually the edge of a roof. and
The
it's-
end, the end of the building.
support.
Call it the end of the building. It may not in fact be a wall.
Right.
Okay, somewhere in all of this, you have a wall, and if I remember right, through this area, you used to have like an open area where vegetables.
It's all open.
Okay, so all they're saying is bring the limit of the building, whatever in fact it may be, the edge of the roof, edge of the eaves, whatever, back 10 feet. That's the whole thing in contention.
I think you said you were fine with that.
Can you do that?
It's just a shrinking of the building versus obviously.
Yeah, we're not saying pick the building up.
10 feet, not even 10 foot wide?
When it was 26 feet wide, according to what Don was
Well,
showing.
23.5,
No, I'm talking about the building.
no,
You're talking about moving.
just,
I'm misunderstanding. I mean,
Okay.
I wasn't born yesterday. but-
okay, let me get a pen.
Huh?
Okay, I'm gonna make a line.
But you only got 10 feet in the front there anyway.
Well, let's see, you've got 14.7 and 23.5 on this side. And what they're saying, 10 feet would put you about there, give or take, something in there. That's about where the wall, the limit of the building would wind up.
I don't know how to do that.
Well, okay,
I mean, we can,
let's get some of the other fellas down
I
here.
wouldn't know how to do that. I mean, it's,
Well, this is what,
edge support structures run there.
this way.
Okay. And,
Down in this corner, it encroaches.
okay.
I never tried it, it encroaches. Went over 10 feet.
okay, let me run this back up with the line.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll run it up there. Let me run it by him.
So can we have a couple minutes to go through the genocide?
Okay, Mark. Excuse me. I penciled in a line. And this is the front of the stand, whatever in fact it may be. this is 14 and some tenths feet. So a 10-foot, sucking this in by 10 feet would bring a line about there. Okay? Now, what Al is saying is, if you've got 23.5 on this side, that would sum this up to 13, and you'd have almost nothing here. And he says that's not real doable. So,
Why is it doable? It was doable to build it in the first place.
well,
So you're saying it's not economically viable, they can't sell enough fruits and vegetables? Is that the point?
it may be that, it may be, I don't know. You ask. He's huddling at the moment. As for me, I gotta go answer nature's call.
Okay, come back to me.
I will come back soon.
Okay.
Now, they may,
It's undoable. So I'd like to see Joe just said that it's undoable.
well, they're talking outside.
So why is it undoable?
Well, then, yeah, I mean, I think it's a small price to pay for a lot of towns that make it done. But without.
Just another question. This facility has closed display cases, big glass. Out there with a display cases that require
Holding cold.
I'm not certain.
Very unethical. Bailey is in
We've done this before, like if they go, yeah, the one garage or thing. You get the problem with the neighbors.
Yeah, I've been running around my daughter.
About
Dog's good. I don't know, my wife's 2 months pregnant, I got a puppy.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He could have got a Corvette.
Yeah, no, the dog's cheaper, but I had to do the crate training, which really helped, because he's about confused about where to go, you know? So he actually has license there.
Kind of.
Just a cat now.
Cute. Not real funny. Oh, nice.
No, not too much.
No.
I actually took him over to Argos, the veterinarian.
Oh, yeah, the one you got. You did take it.
What is the
Location of the building and how many violations of the building, that whole property is violated.
It really does. What you have is a limited.
Says the principal building is correct.
for the
Because the position would be.
They were involved in a case.
They're making a difference. They're making it easier. For your argument, because as I understood it, was don't get hung up on what was told us. Just look at what was happening. It's essentially the same thing.
So when you say that when we built this year,
It's a different argument. They still made it successful. I think they were set. It's a hard argument in the long term. If I was
it should be exactly the first
Don't make it go back.
Isn't that making it
That's not the issue at hand. That's on
I think next year is going to be
The person who owns this parcel is actually relative to his son, not Alfred.
No, the other son, I think it was sitting on the front lawn. That was Mike.
So is that over 3.2 feet, 3.2 inches? It says here 3.2 feet.
Really, the only thing is the roof needs to be short. Yeah, because if you look at here, okay, if you switch that back, the reality is actually from, in fact, the shared
Situation is, yeah.
It helps.
I'm all for that. I'm all for maximizing profit.
I think that will take very
I may approach and just cut the other side. So we can all hear. So I think the concern is, if you look at the structure as it is on the map right there, though it looks like it's one contiguous structure, there are actually two portions. There's an inside and an outside portion. There's a front pavilion there. That front pavilion is about 10 feet.
That's kind of what we surmised.
So essentially, there would be two things that would be lost. There would be the front pavilion part, which is sort of the entire character of the farm stand, but along with it, the insulating properties of having the roof and being able to partially enclose it in the colder weather like we're going to start getting now. So doing that would, if you're talking about the benefits of a roadside farm stand, unfortunately you lose a lot of that by eliminating that pavilion there. So, and just by way of example, I believe that if you look at the measurements there, the distance from the edge of the right-of-way to the shoulder of the road in that particular spot is 38 or so feet. So, I mean, it's still, the farm stand is still quite a bit further back from the road, from the shoulder of the road than this building is, just to give you some perspective there. So, we would ask that you consider the zero lot line just because of the the variance as originally requested, because of the structure as it is and what would be eliminated, you're essentially taking away the part of the farm stand that makes it a farm stand, a roadside farm stand, and it doesn't appear like there's a place where you could relocate that particular pavilion, the outdoor pavilion.
I think that was the whole crux of the initial request because of the topography.
Right, right, and that's why where it is essentially the only place that you could put it on that particular lot. Again, I'd ask that the board consider. I understand the concerns about the zero lot line, and I think that the encroachment over that corner that you see there, that's a different matter. That is probably an overhang that can be removed, but that's a much smaller amount than an additional 10 feet that takes off a whole critical part of the structure.
So it then becomes a basis straight up and down.
Right, I mean-
We're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the answer there is that for the reasons that Mr. Wellman just gave, that they're unwilling or unable to accommodate the request for a 10-foot setback from the street line. Okay, so then you have your the same 4 requests in front of you, and you can discuss it and then ultimately make a determination accordingly. Whatever determination is made, I have to embody that for you in a written decision. You can make a determination this evening, subject to be drafting a written decision that reflects that determination for your review and approval at the next meeting. I don't think it's from the applicant's standpoint. I don't think that's an issue because we're not in farm stand season right now. So there's time to get this done. The other way to handle it is just to take a consensus tonight, and direct me to draft the decision a certain way, and I can do that as well. So whichever way you want to do it.
So is Mr. Higley saying that you cannot run this farm stand profitably if you affect the 10-foot setback? Is that what you're saying?
I didn't say profitably, you can't run it at all.
You can't run it at all? How did you run it before? How did you run it before?
Excuse me,
I'm asking you the question.
I did, and I gave you the answer. You can't run it because you'd have to tear it down.
You'd have to tear part of it down.
You'd have to tear down the front part of the structure.
So you're saying that would effectively put you out of business?
You got it right. You have it already.
I think that there's more to, they're roof trusses, so cutting off the 10-foot portion isn't just a matter of, if this was a flat roof with no dimension to it, that would be one matter, but.
What you're saying is you're dealing with an engineered truss.
Exactly, and then removing 10 feet worth, removing the slab may not even be the most difficult part. It's not only removing the front part, but possibly having to replace the entire roof because you can't cut a third off of the engineered truss.
Triangulation and a truss, that's all she wrote.
Right. That's exactly.
Well, somehow this farm stand existed before this addition was done for several years, so
And that's the flip side of the argument. I mean, they're positing
there was a business there, so.
Well, they're positing all the difficulties that would be entailed by accommodating the request, but at the same time,